Hello and welcome to Benue Television News at 7. My name is Mercy Upa. The headlines: Benue State advocates for return of IDPs to homes. NEC permits MTN to generate electricity, and from the foreign scene, Ukraine destroys strategic bridge in Russia. On the occasion of World Humanitarian Day, stakeholders in Benue State have advocated for the speedy return of displaced persons to their ancestral homes. The advocacy was part of a walk by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, in Makurdi. Fidelia Zashaondu has the report.
The World Humanitarian Day is observed every year on August 19th. It is a day set aside to identify and celebrate with persons involved in humanitarian activities or caring for victims of disasters across the world. Benue SEMA, in collaboration with Ministry of Humanitarian, marks this day. It begins with a walk from the Government House roundabout to the State House of Assembly, where the advocates are received by the Speaker, Aondina Daju, who was represented by Majority Leader Tise Sati. The group make a case for the IDPs to return to their homes, saying a bill has already been submitted to the House to that effect. Commissioner for Humanitarian, Mr. Aonduwasikunde, addresses the lawmakers, asking that they try to hasten deliberations on all humanitarian bills on the floor of the House for speedy passage into law. Mr. Kunde says such bills, when passed, will make positive impact on the lives of Benue people.
The increasing number of attacks on humanitarian workers and repeated violators of international laws protecting them demonstrates the need for global awareness and action. A durable solution is said to have been achieved when internet displaced persons no longer have any specific assistance and protection needs that are linked to their displacement and can enjoy their home right without discrimination or account of their displacement.
Responding, the Speaker, Mr. Aondina Daju, who is represented by Majority Leader Sate Tise, identifies with the stakeholders for the good work already in progress. Tise pledges support of the lawmakers and urges the stakeholders to continue to do their best.
And we are interested in a lot of issues that are concerns of these non-governmental organizations that you are part. I have a bill on my table that was sent to us by Benue. It's a bill on domestic violence and some other. We are waiting for its input before we consider it to read and then pass.
The team later leaves for Anyi in Logo local government of Benue State for onward distribution of palliatives from the federal government. Fidelia Zashaondu, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
3 persons are under the Nigerian police custody over alleged diversion of palliatives meant for internally displaced persons (IDPs) in Makurdi. The Executive Secretary, Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, James Yopu, made this known Monday during a press briefing in his office. Again, Fidelia Zashaondu is on standby to bring us details of this report.
The Executive Secretary, James Yopu, who frowns at the act from one of his staff for being involved in the diversion of food items meant for the IDPs, vows to ensure the perpetrators face the wrath of the law. According to Yopu, every food item has been tampered with save for sugar. The SEMA head announces the constitution of a monitoring team comprising SEMA partners and other stakeholders to help prevent such fraudulent activities.
I want to set up a discipline committee and a monitoring team going forward. Before our next phase of distribution, it is a distribution committee that is going to handle, and majority of the membership will come from support partners, our CSOs and Bonganit, and some of our staff who I think they have the quality to join on the team, so that we will be sole responsibility of distributing items to IDPs going forward.
The incident happened on Friday during the routine process of carrying relief materials to IDP camps for distribution. Fidelia Zashaondu, Benue Television News, Makurdi.
Thank you, Fidelia, for bringing us that report. Medical workers have called on the government and security officers to bring up policies that will improve the security of health workers in the country. The president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, Federal Medical Center Makudi, Dr. Fanin Dogo, made this call Monday during Benue television flagship program Daybreak Benue, which discussed the protest by the National Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, following the abduction of Dr. Ganiat Popular and certain medical students in the country. The cast chair monitored the program and has this report.
On August 14, 2024, about 20 medical students of the University of Jos and University of Maiduguri got kidnapped along Otupo Road on their way to Enugu for a conference. Prior to that incident, another doctor, Dr. Ganiat Popola, had been abducted and has been in the custody of her abductors for 7 months. These incidents have generated reactions amongst medical associations in the country, especially the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, who have come out to express their displeasure over the insecurity of medical personnel in the country. The President, Association of Resident Doctors, Federal Medical Center Makudi, Dr. Fanen Dogo, during Daybreak Benue, said these cases of insecurity have caused a lot of doctors to migrate, thereby causing a brain drain in the medical profession.
Our ultimatum was actually for Dr. Ganiat Popola, who happens to be a member of our association. Actually, the plans for our ultimatum came up on Wednesday, before the medical students were actually adopted. So the discussions around the ultimatum were not factoring the medical students in them. In fact, that came before the medical students were actually adopted. So our ultimatum was actually for Dr. Popola, who happens to be a member of our association.
He appealed to the government to bring in measures that will ensure the safety of doctors in the state. He also mentioned that the aim of the protest is to create some form of pressure on the government to act and also to create more publicity on their issues.
The essence of bringing this to the public is not just about government, it's about also well-meaning Nigerians who have access to government to call them to order, to call them to do the needful. I mean, if the public feels that doctors are important and doctors are carrying out essential services, what affects the doctor should affect the public. So if the public doesn't really care about what affects the doctor, it's unfortunate.
According to the guests, efforts and measures
Benue Television News at 7 will now go for a brief break. When we return, we'll bring you more updates. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that break. You're still watching Benue Television News at 7. The National Emergency Management Agency NEMA has delivered 1,528.2 metric tons of assorted grains to support locals in Jigawa State. In a statement Monday, the agency noted that the distribution was approved by President Bola Tinubu and managed by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security for allocation to vulnerable Nigerians across the 36 states and Federal Capital Territory. According to the statement, the distribution is from the 42,000 metric tons of assorted food commodities from the National Strategic Reserve. The statement partly read, "Today is a significant step towards fulfilling this promise. The National Emergency Management Agency is overseeing the handover of Jigawa State's allocated share of these commodities." The agency said the distribution includes 594 metric tons of maize, 691.2 metric tons of sorghum, and 243 metric tons of millet. It added that the food items will be equally distributed across all local government areas in Jigawa State. It was reported in February that the federal government announced that it would distribute 42,000 metric tons of grains at no cost to cushion the food crisis in the country. In March, Some portions of the assorted grains were reported to have arrived in at least 8 states across the country, which include Kano, Kwara, Kogi, Ebonyi, Adamawa, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Taraba. The new Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC), Jobson Iwalifo, has promised to streamline public-private partnership processes to accelerate infrastructure development, bridge the attendant gaps, and stimulate economic growth. Iwalefo said this at the weekend during a strategic retreat with stakeholders held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, where he rolled out a 6-point policy direction as the new headsman of the ICRC. He said that PPPs are vital for advancing development across all sectors and need strategic procedures and crucial steps to improve their delivery, considering Nigerians' facility gaps. He also assured that the Commission would, within the ambit of the law, resolve all impediments that hamper the execution of projects so long as such projects are bankable and viable, important to the Nigerian people, and deliver value for money. Speaking further on his policy direction, Iwalefo mentioned that financing development projects would be a primary focus for the Commission, highlighting that innovative finance is central to public-private partnerships. Iwalefo hinted that he was already in talks with potential investors who were interested in knowing how safe and profitable investments would be, as well as a possible timeline for delivering the project. Citing the Nigeria Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan, he said that the nation's infrastructure was weak and required financing to transform the economy, adding that it was in view of the need for finance that the Commission would focus on innovatively building financial infrastructure. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has issued permits to Golden Penny Power Limited, MTN Communications Nigeria Limited, Heaven Hill Synergy, and other companies for mini-grid electricity generation. The NEC said it issued 9 new off-grid generation licenses in the first quarter of 2024 with a gross capacity of 109.69 megawatts and 3 new trading licenses. According to the Commission, Golden Penny Power Limited got a license to build 6 off-grid gas plants in Lagos, Oyo, Ogun, and Cross River states. The total capacity is 100 megawatts. Also, MTN was granted a permit to build 4 captive generation plants across Lagos State with 15.94 megawatts capacity. Tears as Mohbad is laid to rest. Aside from MTN, Newsco Foods Limited, African Steel Mills Nigeria Limited, West African Ceramics Limited, Royal Engineered Stones Limited, and Amilo Plastics Limited were permitted to generate captive power. NEC also said captive power generation permits are issued to entities that aim to own and maintain power plants for generating power for consumption and not for sale to a third party. Section 165 subsection 1M of the Electricity Act 2023 permits the Commission to award license of mini-grid concessions to renewable energy companies to exclusively serve a specific geographical location, indicating aggregate electricity to be generated and distributed from a site, with the obligation to serve customers to request the service. Under this, the Commission said it has continued to encourage the development and utilization of renewable energy by issuing permits and registration certificates for mini-grid development. The next television news at 7 will now go for a break. When we return, we'll be joining the foreign scene for more updates. Please stay with us. From the foreign scene, Libya's central bank has announced the suspension of all its operations after a senior employee was kidnapped in the capital, Tripoli. The bank denounced the abduction of its information technology director, Musab Maslami, in a statement on Sunday. The report says Mr. Msalem was taken from his home by an unidentified party on Sunday morning and that other employees have been threatened with kidnapping. The central bank says operations will not resume until Mr. Msalem is released. The central bank, which is independent but owned by Libyan state, is the only internationally recognized depository for Libyan oil revenues, which form a vital economic income for the country, which has been torn for years between two rival governments in Tripoli and Benghazi. According to reports, the incident comes a week after the central bank suffered a siege by armed men, which is intended to force the resignation of the bank's governor, Sadiq Al-Kabir. Mr. Kabir has faced criticism over the management of oil resources and state budgets since the ousting and killing of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The country has continually experienced chronic insecurity resulting in the division by power struggles, which has produced two governments running concurrently, a UN-recognized government based in Tripoli and another in the country's east, backed by warlord Gen Khalifa Haftar. A police commander in Tanzania's capital, Dodoma, Theopistal Maliar, has been removed from her post following controversial comments in which she linked an alleged gang rape victim to sex work. Earlier this month, a video appearing to show a young woman being assaulted by 5 men went viral in the East African country, prompting an outcry among the public. Following a backlash and accusations that the comment minimized the woman's ordeal, Tanzania's National Police Force apologized and said the commander had been transferred. National Police spokesperson David Misimel Monday disclosed this to newsmen. Mr. Misimel added Ms. Malial's statement was only misinterpreted. In the video appearing to show the woman being raped, the suspect reportedly interrogated her, forcing her to apologize to someone referred to as Afande. In Tanzania, Afande is often used to refer to a soldier or police officer, so many activists and social media users express outrage that a sexual assault could have been carried out on the orders of a member of the security forces. Ukraine said it has destroyed a second strategic bridge in a week as it continues its incursion into Russia's Kursk region. The Ukrainian military on Sunday released aerial footage of the strike on the bridge, reported to be over the Sim River in Zvonia. The video shows a growing large cloud of smoke over the bridge and one of its sections appears to be destroyed. It is, however, not clear when the strike took place. News report quotes Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that for the first time, the aims of the military incursion into Kursk included the creation of a buffer zone to stop Russian attacks. Ukraine is nearly 2 weeks into its biggest attack on Russian territory since Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Earlier, military analysts had identified 3 bridges in the area used by Russia to supply its forces, and they said 2 had either been destroyed or seriously damaged. And almost 2 weeks after Ukrainian troops pushed across the border into Russia, it is becoming clear that they plan to stay. President Zelensky, according to report, revealed that these troops were strengthening positions in Kursk and expanding further in Russia. He also revealed that their operation in the Kursk region is still inflicting losses on the Russian army, the state and their defense industry and their economy, revealing that the aim is more than just defense, but for Ukraine, but to destroy as much Russian war potential as possible and conduct maximum counteroffensive actions. And that's all of our package this night. Before we go, here's a recap of the main stories. Benue State advocated for return of IDPs to ancestral homes. NEC has permitted MTN and others to generate electricity. Ukraine has destroyed a strategic bridge in Russia. My name is Mercy Upa. Thank you for watching. Local news will come up next. Good night.